Welcome to the Best Team Wins podcast with Adam Robinson. He's talking to today's industry leaders and entrepreneurs about the people side of their business.
Welcome to the Best Team Wins podcast, where we feature entrepreneurs and business leaders whose exceptional approach to the people side of their business has led to incredible results. My name is Adam Robinson, and for the next 25 minutes, I'll be your host as we explore how to build your business through better hiring. Today on the show, we have Wayne Sleight, Chief Operating Officer at 97th Floor, located in Lehi, Utah, founded in 2005 by Chris Bennett, who currently serves as the CEO. Wayne and 97th Floor currently have 70 employees and are looking forward to a strong finish to this year, I'm sure. Wayne, we're excited to have you on the program. Thanks for being here.
Yeah, thanks, Adam. Thanks for having me.
So a couple of fun facts. It sounds like under your stewardship, the company's created a pretty amazing culture, which I'm excited to dive into with you. You've been recognized as one of the best in the country by Inc., by Entrepreneur, and Fortune magazine. So congratulations there. And I see you were recognized as Maverick of the Year at the American Business Awards a couple years ago. And Utah Business Magazine had you listed on the 20 in their 20s list. So a lot going on there. What does Maverick of the Year mean? Tell me about that.
And I have no idea, Adam. Honestly, a lot of people inside of 97th Floor, people that know me know that I hate awards. I think it's just all a joke. I mean, even if you go to like celebrity, like Grammys and that kind of stuff, they all serve a purpose. And in the business world, they serve a purpose, but they're probably even more so phony. It was just one of those awards. We have a team that does them. For the longest time, I fought it, and I said, 97th Floor, I never want us to do, submit for awards and whatnot. But I do see, there is a benefit to them, for new employees, clients. They look to those type of things without, researching too much about the company, and it's kind of like that quick little testament. So that particular one, it was just I think people that just do things a little different in the business world instead of the status quo, and that's 97th Floor. I just happened to be the one that they put the name on, but I think 97th Floor does do things quite differently than most companies. So I think it fits us.
So I look forward to diving into all of the things that you're doing well and in an innovative fashion. Before we dig into that, give us 30 seconds on the business. What are you guys focused on?
Yeah, so we're a marketing agency, digital, which most marketing is digital these days. So it's kind of redundant to say digital marketing. Anything from SEO, paid ads, like AdWords, Facebook ads, any other social network. Create a lot of content. So we have designers, developers, video, pretty much anything to help companies grow through a digital channel. That's where we can help them.
And if listeners want to learn more, what's the best way for them to do that?
Just our website, 97thfloor.com. Yeah, that's easy enough.
Okay. All right. Let's talk about the people side of the business. You and I were talking before we went live that it was about 4 years in when you joined the business. Give us a lay of the land of the business then, and as it pertains to operations, including talent, hiring, and retention. Then what was it like, and today what's different? What have you done that you think has improved that part of what you're doing?
Perfect. Okay. Yeah. So Chris Bennett, like you mentioned, he started the company in 2005. We're coming up on 13-year anniversary here next month. I joined about 4 or 5 years in 2009, and it was just us two. When I first joined, it was just Chris. He started 97th Floor as more of a lifestyle company, like a lifestyle entrepreneur, where he was doing great work for clients, had some pretty decent sized clients for himself. He used some contractors to help him. But for the most part, he just wanted to work from home, be able to travel with his family, be there for family, and kind of manage things himself. I've known Chris my whole life. We're actually related now. Uh, so I just wanted to get in the business. He gave me some little side projects, and long story short, it naturally developed into a full-time thing. It was just us two working from our homes. It didn't feel like a real company, if you will, but like we said, we did good work, and we had some pretty a couple big national clients. So things were good, but in terms of a company, like no insurance, no other employees, no office, like none of that type of stuff. No real plans, just to grow. We didn't need to grow that often. We didn't lose clients that often. So things were very easy. About 6 years ago is when we started taking things a little bit more serious and wanting to change it from just a small, 2-person shop working from home and some contractors to an actual office and try to grow. So over the years, things have changed quite drastically these last 6 years. So I always say we've been a brand for 13 years now, but a real company for about 6. So we're still a little bit new to it. When we first started hiring and building out the team, and we had the office and all that kind of stuff, all the policies and like the HR type stuff that came with it, and either Chris or I had any experience in that, we defaulted to, well, what was the last 3 jobs that each of us worked at? Like, what were the policies there? Okay, what were the benefits that they had? What were the perks? And we just implemented all of that typical stuff that we had at our previous, jobs. And it was fine for a while, but there was, certain things. I'd probably say like one story of like the straw that broke the camel's back, if you will, is we had this one employee, and Chris actually was about to fire this person the next day, and we were talking about it, and like it was just a weird like out of body experience. Like, what are we doing? This employee was he was a designer, amazing, probably at the time our best designer. He's helped us so much through the years. And the reason we were going to fire him is because we had a clock in, clock out policy, and this person showed up about 5 or 10 minutes every single day late. That was one of our policies that you had to clock in at 9 o'clock or 8 o'clock. I forget the exact time. Anyway, so we asked ourselves, why are we about to fire this person just because they're not following one little rule that we only implemented because that was our last jobs had this type of rule. So it was finally a time where we started, picking up our head and out of the dirt and questioning everything we did. Well, why do we do this? Why do we do this? And basically, it came down to before we, when we were just working from our houses, just the two of us, and even Chris before I joined him, he really loved his job. I loved my job when I first started working with Chris because of all the freedom, because we got to do what we wanted. We didn't have to focus on, all these lame policies and rules and whatnot. So that's what started changing it for us. And actually, Chris talked to him the next day about being late. And he opened up and he explained that the reason he was late, he lives a little bit further away from the office, our office at the time. And he wanted to help his wife get the kids ready for school before coming into the office. So that's why he came in a few minutes late every single day.
It changes your perspective a little bit.
Exactly. And we're both, Chris and I are family men, and we're a very family oriented company. So that's something we want to support our team members in, like being a good wife, being a good husband, being good parents. Anyway, so after that, we started changing everything we've done. And like I said, over the years, I mean, still to this day, but especially that first year, we just ripped everything apart and started putting in things that basically the mantra was like, we need to make this a workplace that both of us still love to come into. And if a policy doesn't fit our lifestyle and what we'd want to, be happy with, then we're not going to do it for the rest of the team. And that's kind of our guiding principle to this day.
You've hired 10 people a year or so for the last 6 years since, as you said, started to get serious about it and make this a real business. What's that experience been for you? That, one a month approximately, in 6 years adding 70 people, that's not easy. And it means something's going right from a sales and delivery standpoint. But how do you keep all that moving? Backfilling roles, adding new roles, managing that process at 70 members on that team, that becomes approaching a full-time role.
So our business model, where people aren't familiar with an agency, it's a service based company. So I mean, we have some tools that we use for our clients, but it's not like we're selling those tools. So it's all, manual labor, if you will. Let me backtrack. I guess when we first started hiring, that was a huge pain. I remember going through hundreds and hundreds of resumes. We, put out job ads on LinkedIn. We have a local service here in Utah we'd use, and a couple other things. I'd go through tons and tons of resumes, take me a ton of time. I'd probably invite 30 people in for interviews. It was crazy. That took so much time just to hire, one person. Same with the, second round of interviews and whatnot. Over the years, though, we've not the last 2 years, maybe 3 years, we haven't done any job ads. We get about 200 at least 200 resumes a month, and it's because of we don't have to really hire from resumes that often for key positions. So how we did that is over the years. First, we started implementing an internship program where we actually use them as employees. They're paid. It's just they're not doing the most complicated tasks. At that point, as people, graduate, we are building out a network. So we know when we do need to hire, we already have a network of people. And then from that, we started, we called it kind of like our farm league. There's a lot of different names for it, but basically like a minor league in a professional sports, team like NBA, G League, where at first we only accepted clients that met a certain requirement. We called it enterprise, the minimum monthly spend, size of the company, that type of stuff. And we turn away a lot of business that not necessarily like mom and pop shops, but smaller businesses with smaller spends and whatnot. About 4 years ago, we opened that up to where we started taking on those clients, and we'd have people before they got in a leadership position, they had to be a leader on that team. Before they started working on our main accounts, like new hires, they would come in and work on that one. So it's almost like a bridge between an intern to a full-time employee. I mean, they were full-time, benefits, all that kind of stuff, but they weren't working on our main accounts, the ones truly keeping us in our business. So we still have that today. So at this point, when a key position on like a key client, someone leaves or quits or whatever, we have to let go of them for whatever reason, we already have people that are on deck to come in. So at this point, hiring really isn't a headache for us, just because we built out that 2-layer network.
I mean, what a competitive advantage. I was talking to someone yesterday here in our office who is a director of talent acquisition at a creative agency, who said precisely the opposite thing to me. They told me that recruiting for creative talent and account-focused folks was impossible, and it was a constant battle and firefight, and everyone is always trying to take people and pay another $1,000 a year to get people to move, and that it was a total war zone. And it sounds like you have the exact opposite experience because you built a farm system. And I guess my question is, what prompted you to do that? I mean, it's not easy to do, but boy, what a payoff.
Yeah, and I guess I will backtrack. That was an issue. What that person the other day was telling you, that was a big issue for us. And we still see it a little bit in more senior level positions. I mean, we do try to promote from within first, but we do still hire externally for that from time to time. And that gets a little bit more competitive in your traditional months long process going back and forth. But we used to get poached a lot. But at this point, we don't have investors. Me and Chris have 100% control of the company. So we're able to pay people what we want to pay them. We're able to make the margins we want to make. We've had CPAs over the years, tell us that we need to cut our spend in payroll to have industry averages and whatnot. We'd rather not have to go through that, which we did in years past, where we'd have people being left or being poached away from us. So between benefits, pay, perks, I think I know we're extremely competitive, because it's pretty rare for us to lose someone to a competitor. One, we don't have much turnover with employees, and if it is, they're starting their own company or or something like that, that there's nothing we could do anything. In fact, we encourage them to do that kind of stuff, pursue their dreams. So yeah, that's kind of why I would say we're not battling that very often at this point, just because anytime people get offers from other places, they're already making more money, or it's about the same, but the perks and benefits at 97th Floor are better. So
it's incredible. I mean, you've hinted at it as having a strong set of values that drive the business. Do you have formal core values that you can share with us? And if so, how do you make those real in a daily operating sense?
That's a perfect question right now. We just are redoing those. We've never had them plastered on the wall over the office, because we used to be under the mindset that is just a bunch of words and we are all about action. We are doers, not just talkers. So we were kind of anti that. But now that the company's grown, and I mean, I know we're still a small company, about 70 employees. That's not huge, but not everyone gets to, talk with Chris all the time, or me, or some other leader in the company. So we're actually doing that right now. We did a big survey company-wide to see what everyone, including interns, what they thought our values were. And then the other question was what they would like our values to be. So we're actually collecting that right now. Next month, we have a leadership retreat that we're going out of state for, and we're going to go through those and finalize them and have our official ones that we were always so against. But even though we're doing this, we still want to, and maybe that will be one of the values. I'm not sure exactly what word would best describe that, but keep that mentality that we're doers and talk is cheap. Throwing words up on a wall mean nothing. How we've kind of done it in the past of showing values is, well, this person was promoted, or this person was hired, or this person, I guess, bonus. You're not publicly, typically publicly addressing that, but individually you are giving them reasons why that promotion happened, why that hire happened, or if it's individual, why that, bonus was given. And we back them up with values. So that was kind of our way of broadcasting our company values, was by showing it in who we hire, promote, or even terminate in certain cases if it was warranted to make it, publicly known, at least in terms of the company. Well, why was this person terminated? Yeah, so that's kind of what we've done before. But yeah, now we're getting to a point where we will have those, 4 or 5 or however many core values that we all memorize and whatnot.
I've heard it said on the show a couple times that core values are the path by which you scale the culture of the business once you hit 70 or so people. To what extent was that weighing on your mind as you thought about whether or not to go through this process? Because it's not a small surveying the whole company and arriving at an end result here is a big effort. What was on the mind of you and Chris as a reason to do this?
It actually wasn't either of ours. It was other people in the company asking for it. And I think that right there, I know it's a small example, but I think that says a lot about our company. Is by far the majority of good ideas that come out of the company and that we implement. It's not Chris, it's not Wayne, it's not Paxton or Shante or any other senior level leader in the company. It's the rest of the employees. So yeah, it was just asked for by multiple people. I fought it like I typically do always, but they convinced me, and they brought up a lot of good points. One of them that stuck with me the most, very simple, is just Wayne, what the values are, what matters to us, like Chris does, people that have been here for years, but go ask that intern that's been here 2 weeks and see what they say. And it's true. I do that, and they don't know. They say what they hope 97 floors, and they through the interview process and reputation in the community, they know of some, but they don't know of all the themes. So I do think as you get to a certain point, we haven't done it yet, so I can't say for sure if it's going to be good for 97 floor, but I think it will be, because 70 employees, it's just hard to spend one-on-one time with them all the time, and we're busy, doing work, so we can't do that all the time. So it will be good for them to be able to see and be reminded. But hopefully they understand that's just talk. That's just words they read when they first are hired. Maybe it'll be on a wall or something. But hopefully they start believing it as, the months go on, years go on at the company, and they see that they're rewarded because of those values. They see that other people are brought into the company because of those values. And that's when the trust and belief starts coming.
I want to ask you about something that I read about on your blog. You're a ROWE-certified company.
Yeah.
And so ROWE stands for Results Only Work Environment. And from what I understand, it's a human resource management strategy created by two individuals. And the idea is to give the members of your team 100% autonomy to do their work in exchange for 100% accountability. Talk to us about what that means. That's fascinating.
Yeah, I mean, you summed it up very easy right there. It's 100% autonomy that the employee gives, 100% accountability that the employer gets. There's a lot of reasons. Like I said, back to we wanted a place that me and Chris enjoyed working at instead of, just have our own set of rules and everyone else has to obey other ones. So for us, we wanted to maintain that freedom that we had when it was just us two, and we wanted to give that to everyone else in the company. That said, there are some things that we customize for our type of business. And I think any business that is going to be a ROWE or similar, they kind of have to figure out exactly their business model because everything is different, obviously. But yeah, I think there's also a part of it is that we didn't want to have to get in those conversations, which we were. And I think both Chris and I are nice guys. And when you have excuses of why this, piece wasn't designed on time, or, the client wasn't notified, or email wasn't responded to here, like little things that occur in our business, there was always excuses. And we always hated dealing with excuses of personal lives. We'd hear about, well, I was sick or this was happening, and we couldn't, hold them to the fire for that because we felt sorry for them. Where with ROWE, you don't feel sorry because you never talk about that type of stuff. I mean, you do if you're like friends and just shooting the breeze. But when it comes to work, you don't talk about personal stuff because you can't say, well, I didn't have enough time, because we don't track time. There is no time. So yeah, that's kind of why we implemented it. We did it really slowly over about 3 years. About 2 years of testing things out, trying different things before we fully implemented it. And it's been about 4 years now, 3 or 4 years now. And we tracked 3 different themes before we implemented it and then after. And they were things like employee retention rate, to see how often people turn over, along with their happiness levels, which is just a 1 to 10 survey that we'd send out. I think at the time it was monthly. We'd look at client retention rate to see how well the work we were providing to customers. And then the last one was revenue per employee. So basically to see if we're being as efficient as before. And all 3 of those metrics have increased from after implementing this. So it's been a big success for us. And a lot of people recognize that's kind of what our culture is about. And it's definitely one of the biggest aspects of our culture, but it's not it completely. There's other factors that make up our culture, obviously.
As we wrap up here, what would you say is, over the time you've been there, the greatest lesson you've learned about managing the people side of a people-focused business like a creative agency?
Yeah, I think the main one, I'm not sure what is the best kind of cheesy way to say it, but it's basically just to treat people how you would want to be treated, right? That golden kindergarten rule, I guess.
It holds up over the years, doesn't it?
It does, right? Like we just put ourselves in their shoes. I mean, we've even cut positions away at 97th Floor in services that we've wanted to do because we see an opportunity in the market. We have clients asking for it, and we're like, oh, that's a way to make money. So we've done it. We've hired for it. We've asked people to do it, and then once we started realizing, we're like, that's a crappy job. Like, we don't want to do it. How can you manage someone if you're not willing to actually do it as well? So we actually cut that out, and that might be a bad business perspective from a profits standpoint. But every position that we have in the company, Chris or I or anyone else would be happy to do if we haven't done it already ourselves. So at least for sanity and again, our goals are different than I think a lot of companies. We do want to grow. We set growth numbers in terms of revenue, but that's just, I tell people this all the time. If we don't hit those, I don't care. There's other things that actually matter to us. And that's our mission. That's our vision. And numbers, like revenue numbers, that doesn't matter. So if we stay at 70 employees and we're doing just under 10 million in revenue this year, if we stay at this point forever, we're happy. revenue is just kind of a side thing. So treating people like people and like yourself, that goes a long way, and you change how you think about policies and rules and perks. Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of companies do a lot. Like, I love ping pong, don't get me wrong, but I've written a lot about ping pong because of my company. A company that I worked at before here was heavy into ping pong, and I think it represents a lot in the business culture. But I think a lot of companies and like leaders think like, I'm just gonna do fun policies because that sounds cool. You never see them playing ping pong because they don't care about that, right? Because they're going home and they're with their friends and family, taking the boat out or whatever. Like, well, yeah, that's what other people want to do too. They don't want to be like slaves and having to play ping pong in this, office all day. Like, maybe some of them do, but basically try to put perks in and rules and policies that you enjoy, because that's what your team is going to enjoy as well, for the most part.
Ladies and gentlemen, that is the final word. You've been learning from Wayne Sleight, Chief Operating Officer at 97th Floor. Wayne, thank you so much for being with us on the show today.
Thanks, Adam.
That is a wrap, ladies and gentlemen, for this week's episode of The Best Team Wins, where we feature entrepreneurs and business leaders whose exceptional approach to the people side of their business has led to incredible results. My name is Adam Robinson, author of the book, The Best Team Wins, which you can find online at www.thebestteamwins.com. Thanks for tuning in, and we will see you here next week.
Thanks for listening to the Best Team Wins podcast with Adam Robinson. You can find out more information about Adam and his book, The Best Team Wins, Building Your Business Through Predictive Hiring, at thebestteamwins.com. Thanks again for listening, and we'll see you next week.